the sky. Think of all the space to run and drift in my mind. Get blinded by the sun.
Hello and welcome to the Eighth Note Sessions. I'm Mike Shamil.
And I'm Devin Mullen.
And our guest today is the band Real Movement. Hey everybody, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you for coming to the Pea Space.
Yeah.
Yes. Why is it called the Pea Space?
Well, you know,
P stands for practice.
right, and we do some practicing here, so that was the first reason why. Yeah, main
It
reason.
sounds a little funky, a little psychedelic.
Yeah.
For some reason.
And we definitely go to outer space here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And we got to suit up for it.
I wasn't gonna mention it the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to wait till we got to the fundraiser at the end where we explain everything, but I don't want to get into that too much right now.
Yeah. That's a big project we got in the works.
Speaking of projects, let's start off with that today. You guys are in studio right now working on an album.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. What can you share with the audience?
Well, it's our debut album of Real Movement as it stands with us three.
Yeah, and if you've seen us play live over the course of 2021, you know, you'll know that we've been playing a lot of the same songs throughout this year, and so all those songs we wrote to the beginning of the year, and we've been playing them over and over, and so we just figured it's time to sort of get a nice record of what those songs sound like in their best format. Mm-hmm. So we decided to go to Mammoth Recording Studio, and we're having a great time working with Justin. He's in the band Aircraft. I don't know Justin's last name.
I don't either.
Yeah,
but shout out to Justin.
Yeah,
he's super cool.
He's helped us a lot through this process. He really has like an ear for like what we're trying to go for, and
Yeah,
so.
he's sort of like our fourth member.
yeah.
Beautiful. That's a good engineer.
The
That's someone
fourth
who's almost
movement.
playing like a producer role at the same
Yeah.
time. Kind of guiding the band to get the best sound out of them.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really helping capture the sound that we go for when we play live and stuff, and that's what's most important. That's the most important thing I think we want to capture on this, is that we want people to listen to it and get an idea of what they're going to hear when they come see us. Because there is a lot of other Real Movement content from Kevin, but...
Right, yes, yeah.
Yeah, when I first was introduced to Real Movement, Kevin was filling in for Christina Stock at a open mic down at Daily Planet. And I picked up one of your CDs, and I started following you on Instagram, the legendary @RealMovementKev.
yes. And I remember you there because you were representing your band Theaka.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back when I was still with those guys. Good times.
Yeah.
And, it was kind of a neat time to get into Real Movement's music because it's really evolved a lot in its sound. And the three of you have really taken the original essence of the band, but then built upon that foundation and kind of filled it all out.
Would you say we took it to the moon?
I think you've gone all the way to Mars. Elon is at home crying in his Wheaties.
Yes.
So Real Movement is a name that I came up with in 2011 because I was actually in another band at the time, and I wanted to make my own music on the side, and I wanted a name. I purposely chose a name that if it could grow over time. Like when I chose the name Real Movement, I was like, this is great because no matter if I find people who want to play with me, it can turn into a thing. And so then I moved to Buffalo. So I was in Chicago at the time. I grew up in the suburbs in Western New York. And then I lived in Chicago for a little bit, made Real Movement. And so if you go to realmovement.bandcamp.com, you're going to find all sorts of garage band level demos and releases that are a lot of fun and very interesting. And it was just me kind of exploring music. And then I moved back here in 2017. Dean and I go way back.
Yep, we go way back, me and Kev. Yeah.
Way back.
Pretty far back, yeah.
Yeah. Further than space even goes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty far.
That's like a true origin story right there.
Yeah. So when I moved back to Buffalo, he was the first. It was even before I even moved back. I gave you a call, and I was like, "You doing anything?"
I was like, no.
Yeah. And so I was like, "Cool. you want to do something?
I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it.
And so then we did something. And so me and him started playing, and me and you have been through a bunch of iterations of Real Movement, and one of which is the album You Are Loved, which is on Spotify and also available on realmovement.bandcamp.com.
Along with all sorts of other goodies.
Yes. So that was Dean and I. We kind of wrote that. A friend of ours had a recording studio in his attic, and I was sick of all the songs that I was playing at the time. I said, let's get rid of all of them and just write songs in the studio. And that's kind of what we did. We had a lot of fun just making stuff up. And then I took those recordings and I spent a year on GarageBand just overloading them with overdubs and such. And then eventually, we played together through a bunch of iterations of those songs. And then we met Jake here. And
yeah, I was introduced to Real Movement it was at Hot Mama's. It was one of the monthly open mics, and it was just Kevin and Dean, and he announced them as Real Movement. And
thank you to Christina Stock, by the way, because you went to her open mic first, and she came to the Hot Mama's thing.
So the Pea Space is not just a vegetable-colored room floating out in the ether. It's also in this large complex that is kind of a community of other musicians and artists that It's kind of like sort of some of the places that the early grunge bands hung out in, where like Chris Cornell could just be like passed out drunk in the corner or something like that.
Yeah, it has that vibe,
Yeah.
for sure.
Or like a hive. It's like a hive of musicians.
Yeah.
And we're all busy bees, just making our craft and really getting out there and doing
Yeah, Eddie
our thing.
Vedder is here sometimes playing piano in the hallway. Yeah, but
there's always something going on here.
Not interested, though. Not interested.
So to get back on the story of Real Movement and
Yeah.
its progression and evolution, we actually did a write-up, Music is Art did, of You Are Loved back during the pandemic when we were still doing that more consistently. It was this album that I think had a lot of DNA from like 2004 to 2014, college indie, some rock, some ambient elements to it. And what you guys are doing now is very different. It's very soft, it's more ethereal, soulful, jazzy. Is that in part because of your inclusion in the band, Jake, or do you think that's how it was always going to go?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would say so.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think I like. Well, after I met them at Hot Mama's, I just. Well, first of all, I was sort of taken away by Kevin's songwriting, and songwriting is always something that I've been invested in, that's intrigued me, and that I've like studied a lot. Just the art of songwriting itself, and a lot of that comes with my background in like a lot of like, I really liked a lot of like singer-songwriter and like indie stuff growing up. Like I loved like Neutral Milk Hotel and like a lot of pop punk bands and stuff like that. And then getting into college more, I sort of more so studied jazz and classical, and soul and funk sort of came with that, and I really was attracted to that. And so when I met Kevin and Dean, I was really, I guess, attracted to them because of our similar background, like growing up with like the same type of interest in like bands, like these indie rock and pop punk bands and sort of like stuff like that, but also with an idea of like maturing our songwriting together and like trying to take on other influences as well. So. And for me too, like the first way back, like when my first real musical influence was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and so the band I had in high school, I was just trying to be like them, and so but then I had that funk rock in me, and I also really liked the P-Funk growing up as well, George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, and but then over the years as I went solo, I explored all these other territories, and exactly what you're talking about, indie rock music from those 2000s is absolutely where I was pulling from,
And so then when he came in and he has a Parliament tattoo on his arm, I said, okay, well, I get to. it gave me an invitation to revisit sort of those influences in my life.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool that we could connect on all of those levels. Both you brought a lot of funk and soul kind of playing that I've never played with anyone who's really brought that element to the table. The chords you play on the keyboard definitely changed the whole landscape of our music. And Real Movement, I always thought it's just so much more fun to go with the flow rather than really come up with necessarily one iteration of a band and have it stay that way. It was a lot of fun to see it evolve. So first you came in and you started to get involved with the songwriting, which is also a new thing, because before I was the only songwriter and mostly the only one arranging. So to have another voice in there just automatically gave us some more stuff to play with. And then we had two other people, Greg Potter and Chuck. I always forget his last name because he's Chuck Stuff on the
Chuck Stuff
on the
Chuck
social
P.
media, and I assume his last name is Stuff. But Chuck and Greg were a part of the band, a great part of the band, and then they both couldn't. When the quarantine happened, they couldn't really make practices. Their schedules took them elsewhere, and so then it was just us three. And all of a sudden, it's two songwriters and a drummer, and so we had all this space to play with and listen to each other and bounce off of each other. And we really created something totally new for me.
Yeah.
I got to hear a different kind of playing, and I got to change the way I played and the way I wrote songs because of the dynamic the three of us had in this room right here.
I mean, something I easily pick up on whenever I do see you guys play or to see your social media presence is that there's this very deep sense of fraternity and mutual respect for one another as musicians. We were talking a little more in the sort of philosophy zone vein of things about higher ambitions with Real Movement. Now, you talk to some artists and they maybe have a message of self-empowerment is informed by, the socio-political element of it. Some people want to tell stories from history. Other people are just looking to evoke a feeling. And the consensus seemed to be that you guys were looking to imbue the listener with a sense of empowered optimism. And I was curious, in this particular year we live in this particular world we live in, why that?
I just from my own experience, this might not necessarily be true, but in my own experience, I've noticed, growing up as like a pop punk kid, I guess, like indie kid, it's easy to, it's easier to have just sort of think in like a destructive sort of way, in like sort of a pessimistic, like, nothing's gonna go my way type of like pattern. And so I think I like the challenge of like writing something that's like very accessible to people and very like human and very like relatable, but like keeping a sense of optimism within it, because just it's hard to do, to like portray optimism in a way that's like relatable, I guess. Like a lot of the time it's viewed as like, cheesy or something like that, or like sort of like hard to understand. And I think we tackle it in a way that's I've said the word 4 times already, but relatable and just easily digestible,
Yeah, for me, I like music that I like anthems. I like the idea of singing a song to get a feeling out, and to almost overcome it in a way of like taking ownership. We were talking earlier about P-Funk. I liked the way that they could take something like George Clinton said, "Funk is the ring around your bathtub," and I love that because it's funny, but it's also very real, and taking like maybe the place you're in is dirty or the world is messed up, but we're gonna make some music and we're gonna feel good and we're gonna heal ourselves through the music. You brought that element. You know, you have a music therapy background, and the idea of using music as a healing force is definitely something that matters to me. You know, I definitely listen to angry music and sad music, and I feel those things. But then, I don't know. I think just the way we were writing and the fact that we were coming in here, I know I had a lot of negative stuff going on in my personal life, and obviously the world around us. There was something about when we came in here. It was during the winter too, so there's already seasonal. There's already the sad going on, and
Not to mention a national or a worldwide pandemic.
yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't really help.
So when we came in here, there was a sense of like, there's no windows in here,
Yeah.
and we just got to make sounds that just made us kind of feel good. We actually have some of those recordings, which will be available. Patreon.com/realmovement. Some of those are going to be made available, and what you're going to hear when you listen to those things, it's very like gentle music. It was very just like kind of landscapey, and it just made us. I don't know. We were just trying to connect to each other, and then we were also just trying to just like let loose from the outside world that seemed to be very negative around us. This was a space for us to sort of just chill out and heal ourselves, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
How,
And then,
how about you, Dean? You advocating for optimism?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't write any of the lyrics or any of the songs. I don't, but I resonate with the optimistic vibe that we put out there.
Yeah.
And
And
so
your playing definitely helps us like find that chill spot.
yeah. Thanks. But yeah, I mean, I think we all collaborate and we all kind of feel good when we play together, and that comes out, you know, in the music.
It certainly does, and it's a wonderful thing to hear too. Is especially when you hear like some of your more like rough and live recordings, you guys definitely gel really well and work together, and that's important when you're a three-piece more
Yeah.
than any other sized band, because you know when you have fewer instruments and fewer people performing, mistakes and things are kind of harder to bury in the mix. And you guys do a really good job live of kind of supporting each other musically and giving each other that space to kind of do something cool. But you know, it's a great like team sort of effort.
yeah. We've spent a lot of time testing each other's boundaries, and just like I think we just have a very good sense of like where to trust each other and things like that, because of just all the practicing
Yeah,
we did. We've
hours
done a
and
lot of
hours.
practicing.
We just So.
And
And it ends up being that sort of, I always felt it was like this Ouija board sort of thing, where some of the jams we would have would just happen and you weren't really sure exactly who was leading and who was following. It was just all kind of this, we all had our fingers on the thing, and we were seeing where it was going together.
Yeah.
It really felt like.
yeah, just a lot of experimenting and pushing and pulling and
Yeah.
finding our sound, I guess.
Yeah, and I think, and also in between all these jams, we would talk and connect and talk about what was going on in our lives.
Yeah,
That's
that's
very
true
true.
too.
That's still a big part of when we get together in here is in between the jams. We'll talk about whether it's, you know, stuff that's bugging us, stuff that we're going through, and we just help talk. It helps to talk it out. So there's that part of it too, that we all actually communicate with each other on a human being level, not just on a musical level too. And I think that helps us trust each other even more.
We always joke about how just transparent all of us are, in the sense of like if there's some sort of issue or like some sort of conflict of like maybe like a something going on within the songwriting, then we'll just bring it up with each other
Yeah,
and
we'll
talk it out.
about it. Yeah.
Which is, I think that's really our like strongest thing. I think that's helped us make this sound and make this thing happen, just like work together so well.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, stepping outside, then if we're going to talk about fostering a community spirit and having sort of the community spirit inform the music and everything, what are some of the associated acts that you guys like to play with? What are some of the venues that you like to hit up, and what parts of the scene have been sort of foundational into the music you're making right now.
Yeah.
Well, we played Porch Fest with Yellow Thumper, and that was a fun gig. The idea of Porch Fest is a really cool idea. I'm really happy that
Oh, yeah.
we got to have that this year. And Yellow Thumper is a band
Yeah,
that
they're
we
awesome.
enjoy
They're great.
a lot.
Yeah. A great. Yeah. Yeah, we connect with them a lot. We all like Passed Out
Yeah, Passed Out's really
a
good.
lot.
And we
What
lo-
happened after you passed out? No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
We like we've played a lot at Milky's previously, but going forward, we really like playing at Nietzsche's. We really like the crowd
Yeah.
there, and yeah, that's where we've connected with bands there. Like Pass Out, we played with them, and we've really
Yeah, we seem to connect with the crowd that comes to Nietzsche's. We
Yeah.
played a show there. We played the front of the room like on a Thursday night way back in like May or June, and it was one of our first shows playing out. And so there's, we be honest, like we didn't pull a ton of people because it was very early on, but everyone that was coming in seemed to vibe with what we were doing. So
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to when you find that venue that already has the kind of fans that's going to listen to you and seem to vibe with you. It's
probably-
really nice to have.
Probably has one of the more open-minded audiences
Yeah.
going through Nietzsche's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
weirdos go there. It's
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Yeah, good space for weirdos.
We
Yeah.
also love, of course, like anyone within the singer-songwriter community, like you, Devin, of course, and Mike Farrow, everyone within that community, Demaya. It's a very
Yeah, Christina
supportive
Stock.
community.
Yeah. Doing the Zoom open mics was really fun to meet so many people through that. That was a great.
That was kind of
thing.
one of our lifelines during like lockdown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and for me personally, and Jake, you go to it too. The Daily Planet open mic
Love that
on the
one.
second and fourth Thursdays, hosted by Christina Stock. Every once in a while, I'll fill in as a guest host, but that's a great place to go. I love going there.
Yeah.
That's like my
That's a good
favorite
place.
spot to like try out my new songs. Because what I like about that open mic in particular is people are so attentive in the audience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing is worse than like going to a place to play music and everyone's like on their phones and
Yeah.
like
Right.
looking at the
Talking.
TV
Yeah.
and you're just there. But when you like go to a place that, everyone's like eager to hear what people have to bring to the table,
Yeah.
that's just the fucking best.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for
I think a
sure.
big part of that is because it's a coffee shop, so it has that sort of intimate vibe, but also the hours of the open mic. It's 7 to 9, which is like you don't get that rowdy drunk
Yeah.
crowd or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
yeah. I do like the Nietzsche's open mic though. too.
Yes. Yeah. I just did
You
that
just-
last night.
Last night, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And a big part of the Daily Planet is also Andy Wyatt.
Andy is yes.
You know Andy.
Andy's
He's
the man.
he's a. That's what the cool thing is. That sometimes open mic isn't just the people who do it necessarily like for a living trying to make money. Andy is just doing it for the love of playing music.
He's so passionate.
He
So
is.
passionate, and he's passionate for everybody else
He's
too.
the most supportive
Everybody
person
else.
I've
That's
ever
cool.
met. Yeah.
What blows
Yeah.
me away about him too is there's been more than one occasion where I've seen him like singing along people's lyrics.
Yes.
Like the first time like I saw him singing my own lyrics, I'm like, okay, like my immediate like family who's here like aren't even doing that,
yeah.
That's awesome.
and
And
he's
he's
just
right there.
like going along with it. I'm like damn, like he's really like engaged and like
He is.
loving it. And
Yeah.
like man, we need more like
As-
folks like him hanging out at
Yeah.
Exactly.
shows.
As an artist, that's so inspiring and motivating to keep going. Like, okay, yes, all
And
right.
he's super talented himself.
Yes, he is, and
Yeah.
very humble too.
Great harmonica player.
Yeah.
Hopefully he sees this.
Andy,
Yeah.
Shout out
I
Andy.
love you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I think we're getting to about time. So give you a question, then I'll percolate on one,
All right.
and then do the closing.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. While he's percolating away, as we were thinking about coffee and whatnot, what is beyond the horizons for Real Movement? Beyond the album, like what's kind of like the longer term sort of vision that you guys have?
I think we really take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Which
It's really so true.
yeah, it has its ups
One
and
small
downs.
step at a time.
Yeah, it has its ups and downs, but like right now we're we're focusing on the album. That's like we're putting a lot of our energy into just making that what we have envisioned it to be, and like really making it be something that we're like proud of. And and then after that we're gonna focus on playing more shows and just sort of like
Keep it going.
Exactly. Keep that
keep
momentum.
Keep it moving.
Yes.
Yeah, keep it moving.
Really.
Really moving. And we talk about other bands that we look up to, and we'll think, oh, that's cool if we did that, or if we could include that one day. But we don't get too bugged out about whether we're doing that or not. Yeah, we just like we do it one step at a time, so we don't freak ourselves out.
Yeah.
and we're just trying to
come off as like inauthentic, like we're trying to like force something, or I don't know. We're just being ourselves, I guess.
Yeah, being honest with ourselves and letting ourselves grow slowly and naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I dig.
So I guess my last question is, it is a very, very fortunate thing to find people who you have a brotherly love for, where you can sit down and express yourselves freely and come up with something that's good. That doesn't always present itself to everyone. So my question is twofold. What words of encouragement do you have for people who haven't found their people just yet? And what are you hoping changes in the Buffalo music scene in the future? Being as involved, whether it's in musical therapy or in the open mic scene, or just being a good musician, what needs to change?
Oh man.
That's heavy.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I would say so. The first question to people who, I guess, are still trying to find like people that they're comfortable with being open with and stuff. Just like, I think the most important thing for anyone to do is just be yourself, unapologetically. And if you don't know what that is, then spend some time to find it, because that's what I said when I saw you guys at Hot Mamas. That's what attracted me, was I saw the influence of like stuff I had done previously, and like music that I had liked before, and just like the songwriting, and it was just very organic, I guess, how it all came about. So just finding yourself and then just being that way unapologetically is the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, and I would say be patient too, and know that it wasn't a linear process for me, for sure, or even Dean and I. I mean, we started playing in 2017, but then there was a period where we didn't play together for a little while.
Yeah.
You joined another band.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of just, literally there was an entire year where I didn't go to open mics. I just sort of was like, I need to hole up, and I made a million Instagram videos, and I kind of just did my own thing for a little bit. And then even when I came back, I played with another drummer for one practice, and I said no. And then I played with another group, this two dudes, and I tried that for a few practices. And I was like, I got 2 practices in. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be the new direction. And then Dean was like, yeah, I'm ready to play again. I was like, all right, never mind. And so you sort of know when you find your people, because then we find each other again.
And even before you even moved back to Buffalo, I wasn't playing. I hadn't played out for like 3 or 4 years.
Oh, wow.
or maybe like 3 years. But
yeah, that's wild.
But you brought me back too, because I was playing out before that, and then, for a long time I just kind of like gave up. I mean, I was playing drums a little bit, but I wasn't playing out, and you brought me back out too. So
nice.
It's kind of just like eventually you find your people,
Yeah.
or like you just naturally, I don't know.
So like, I would say give it a shot. If you meet people and you think that it could work, give it a shot and see if it works. And maybe it won't, but maybe it will. Yeah. That's pretty much it, yeah.
And then you had a second part to the question, and I forgot.
Right, you want to change.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh.
what's some stuff that needs addressing, that needs change? And
Well, we need more
Buffalo.
people to sign up for patreon.com.
No, in the music scene. In the scene.
I think that'll be a great start.
You hit your plug limit.
I can't help myself.
That's funny.
That's a tough one.
I came in
That's a
here
tough
with an
question.
agenda.
I mean, well, someone mentioned, I don't know if it was Devin or Kevin, but my music therapy background, and one of the biggest things, I am a music therapist, and one of the biggest things that we advocate for is just, that everyone has some sort of like musical child within them that they need to, or that it helps with. It's worth exploring that and being open to that, and also just the self-expression power of music, whether you're Kurt Cobain or you're Beethoven. You know, it's like music is music, and I think the biggest thing is just accepting
Yeah.
everyone's music, I guess, equally, and not viewing, oh, they play like this, I'm sort of above that, you know, type of thing.
Yeah.
All music is authentic and genuine.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think more
definitely.
acceptance and more embracing of everybody, because that's something that I had to work through myself. You know, I've definitely been a musical snob at points in my life. I can definitely admit that. And things, honestly, things like the post APOC open mic was a way for I saw the acceptance and embracing happening in real time, and it taught me a lot of of opening myself up to the scene. So yeah, more acceptance and embracing. If you see musicians out there, give them a listen, give them a real listen. And that's why I love going to open mics and really just listening to people from where they're coming from. That's definitely will make the scene a lot better. Because there's so much talent here. There's so many creative, unique people. So like, I feel like we already have the people, you know, and we have some of the spaces too. We just need to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finding something I've found within the past year is just like or a year or two, is the beauty of collaboration, and how just that can be way more productive than any type of than anything else. Just collaboration is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that answers it pretty well.
Yeah, right on.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you all
guys.
for
Yeah,
being
thank
on.
you guys for coming here.
Yeah,
This has
this is
been
good.
the Eighth Note Sessions. I'm Mike Shamil,
And I'm Devin Mullen.
and our guest today was the band Real Movement. Thank you, gentlemen, and
going
thank
to
you
space.
for
Thank you.
listening at home.